image problem. 2/3 of us are worried about our own self-image, and youngsters are a particular problem. Girls as young as 5 now are worried about how they look. The report published by the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Body Image says the media is largely to blame and suggests school children are given lessons on self-esteem. So I asked this morning, should children be taught about body image? Natasha Devon runs the campaign group Body Gossip, which is run by volunteers, interestingly, and Natasha joins me live on BBC Radio 7 this morning. Morning, Natasha.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. So, what's your reaction, first of all, to the sort of the top line of this report?
Well, I'm not surprised, unfortunately. I mean, at Body Gossip, we've worked with more than 10,000 young people teaching self-esteem classes in schools, and what we have discovered very much mirrors what's come out in today's report. So, although a lot of people, I'm sure, will find it shocking, to us, it's exactly what we expected.
I mean, I'm looking at, we're already getting a reaction to this. Jill on the email says, the only thing wrong with bodies today, in my view, are glossy magazines and so-called celebrities. Is she right?
Yes, I think that there's a tendency that a lot of people have to point their finger at the media and blame the media as if the media is one gigantic ogre with a common purpose. And of course, there are some very responsible people in the media, like yourselves, and there are others that are not so responsible. And I think, in particular, that advertising has a lot to answer for. Advertising that sees very young children as consumers. And of course, the quickest and easiest way to turn someone into a consumer is to make them feel insecure about how they look. So that they're kind of lining these children up for a lifetime of buying products to make themselves look drastically different. So we need to be very careful about who we specifically blame, I think.
And in their defence, I mean, obviously it's kind of you to say what you said about us, but we're a radio station, so in a way,
Yeah.
printing pictures, although we do have a Facebook page, isn't really a big issue for us. But I suppose if you're, to put it on the other side, if you're the editor of one of these weekly gossip magazines,
Yeah.
you know, people buy your magazine because it is full of beautiful celebrities. It's part of the raison d'etre that you exist. Any sympathy?
I think that people would buy it, regardless of the angle that you took. I think these magazines have to have a little bit more faith in the fan base that they've built up. And of course, I have an interest in fashion and in glamour, but it's about allowing that interest to take up a proportionate amount of brain space, I suppose. I always say to my students, spend 5% of your day getting ready and being girly and giggly and thinking about how you look, and then the other 95% being brilliant at whatever you're brilliant at and getting on with your day and fulfilling your potential. If you're obsessing about how you look for the majority of your day, that's a terrible, terrible waste of life.
Okay, and let's be blunt. When did you last see a fat weather presenter? I mean, I say that Raham's just left is beautifully svelte, but I mean, when we talk about the media, is there a view that you have to look beautiful and on the money to even deliver the weather?
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more extreme as well. This very, very narrow idea of perfection in inverted commas that we have. It's no longer just about body shape. It's about skin and teeth and hair extensions and fake tans. And I always think of that advert which talks about if you've got dry, cracked skin on the back of your heels, then apparently you need this product to get rid of it. And they'll always find something new that they'll invent that we need to worry about. And that's what concerns me, that, with the invention of Botox and scientific advancements, it's just going to become more and more plastic.
But on the other side of it, and this is a moral debate, is that, we're talking about people on the TV, for example, is the argument would be if their image or look detracts from the information you're trying to impart, then that is an issue, and therefore aren't people who are putting pictures in magazines, people on our TV screens, right to be thinking, actually, I've got to think about that. That is an issue, the way people look, because that is part of the job.
Well, they have such a large role to play, as this report has shown, in influencing society's attitudes. The only reason that the way someone looks would detract from them reading the weather, for example, is because our attitudes and our expectations have become so narrow as to what people on television, for example, should look like. But when we start seeing a broader spectrum of ages, of races, of shapes and of sizes in the public eye, then attitudes will naturally follow that.
So, to be blunt, for example, and this is a well-spoken story, was Fern Britton's weight when she was doing This Morning, and she's spoken about it many times, an issue because she was a larger woman?
Well, I don't believe that her weight before detracted from her ability to do her job. She's a really great example, actually, because she was just as good a TV presenter both before and after losing the weight. Whether she wanted to lose the weight for her own reasons is her own decision.
Right, and this is perhaps the nub of what we talk about today. Though for youngsters then, should there be classes in school teaching self-esteem, talking about body image, or as some people have said to me this morning, I can't believe it, children getting lessons about whether it's good to look fat or not?
Yeah, anybody who has that view has misunderstood what it is that we're exactly doing. Of course, you have to be very careful about what you teach young people, but what we do at Body Gossip is we give children and teenagers an armour of self-esteem. Make no mistake, there are companies with billions of pounds at their disposal who are working to make your children feel insecure about themselves so that they will buy stuff. And we're giving them the armour so that they don't fall prey to those incredibly damaging messages. And the other thing I would say about that is if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that states you need to feel comfortable and confident about yourself before you can do anything else. If you want your child to get the most out of their education and out of their life, they need to have, crucially, a foundation of confidence and self-esteem, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I've not heard that on the radio for a while. So just for people who don't know about the hierarchy of needs, very quickly, just a bit of context for that, and who Maslow was?
Oh, well, Maslow was a psychologist who invented a kind of pyramid of the most important things that a human being needs, right up to the least important things. And of course, at the bottom, there's things like food and shelter. But before you get to anything intellectual or anything to do with education, there's a layer which is concerned with feeling good about yourself and feeling confident. And you need that layer in place before you can get up to the next layer.
Fascinating. That's going to be part of our discussion this morning, I'm sure, actually, because in a way that's what it's all about. Thank you very much, Natasha. BodyGossip.org is the website, and I know you've got lots of followers on that, and good luck to all the volunteers who get involved in it, and thank you for joining us on BBC Radio Solent this morning.
You're welcome.
Lovely to talk to you. So join in. Let's talk about this morning, and should children